I bring you greetings this day in the name of the Lord. For the first time, we have experienced a silent Christmas Eve in Calabar where I live. The whole night was as silent as a cemetery. Maybe because we are too broke to make the noise as usual with hype, excitement, and entertainment with mild explosives in the air. Or we have grown up overnight to channel our resources where it matters. It is the first time popular carols like Silent Night, Holy Night, performed by both gospel and secular musicians, made sense. It is Christmas, the Mass that commemorates the birth of the Messiah, Christ. Although there is no biblical evidence of the birth of Jesus on Christmas Day, but the world adopts this day as a holiday for all people, irrespective of religious affiliations, to celebrate with family and friends and to exchange gifts. The greatest and priceless gift you can give to your loved ones this season is protection from the ravaging health crisis prevalent in the air. The World Health Organization, WHO, has said the Omicron variant is reported to be causing infections in people that are already vaccinated or who have recovered from the COVID-19 disease, as they could be reinfected. There is now consistent evidence that the Omicron variant is spreading significantly faster than the Delta variant. Remember this: COVID-19 continues to account for about 50,000 deaths globally every week. We need to take responsibility for ourselves and our loved ones. As such, we have to make a conscious effort to keep everyone around us safe. This virus is real, and it is not respecter of persons, age, class, or gender. It will be too expensive for anyone to fail in taking precautions. Such a failure will eventually lead to a crisis that will either be expensive to manage or too difficult to handle. Brethren, you do not need to experience it at all. We have had enough information and experience that should prevent us from holding on to conspiracy theories. I have been vaccinated, but recently I tested positive. The effect is milder than I experienced in late February. There is every information you need on the global health challenge, COVID-19, and vaccinations that can help you make informed decisions. You have a choice, only that this time your choice has to consider those of whom you love. We have come thus far, and the Lord who had brought us here will not let us down. We must remember that we live in extraordinarily challenging times of our entire history. This place no longer feels like home. We hear a lot of the worldwide financial crisis following the global pandemic. We monitor the news and watch the stock exchange report flat lines. It looks like the heart monitor reading of a person who is about to die. When we think of the future, we are just thinking about how we could cope with this crisis. The crisis of insurgency, the crisis of insecurity, inflation, the crisis of health, and so on. We feel fearful about how to cope with all of these things. In 2020, Nigeria experienced its deepest depression in 2 decades, but growth resumed in 2021 as pandemic restrictions were eased, oil prices recovered, and the authorities implemented policies to counter economic shock. Despite these rising indices, Nigeria is still highly vulnerable to the global economic disruption caused by the pandemic, particularly due to the decline in oil prices. Our economy mustn't be determined by what we see around us. It is God who makes it possible that we have survived to this time, and we will conquer as champions, not just cope. It is such empowerment that prepares us to go and make exploit for the kingdom. When we return to God's word, we see that there is a better way than just coping with it. Isaiah chapter 30 verse 29 we read, "But the people of God will sing a song of joy, like the songs at the holy festivals. You will be filled with joy as when a flutist leads a group of pilgrims to Jerusalem, the mountain of the Lord, to the rock of Israel." The intensified light of verse 26 must be understood as symbolic to glory and righteousness. The godless nations will be sifted in a sieve of destruction. Assyria, once again, will be beaten down by the Lord, and every stroke of punishment will be accompanied by jubilant music from Judah. The burning fires of Topheth are ready to welcome the wicked kings of this world that has refused to know God and has brought so much trouble on His creative handiwork. Whatever you find yourself doing this period, you must not lose sight of the imminence of Christ's return. Don't get yourself busy about the baby in the manger that you will lose sight of the soon coming King.